My Uncle Chuck, actually, when I had first left my job after the Army, had said, well, what are you going to do now? And I said, I don't know, I'm going to figure it out.
Tell your friends, lunchtime.
So I decided to join the Army when I was a freshman in high school. September 11th, 2001. I remember I was in art class. But when that happened, being in high school, my kind of core group of friends and I pretty much all decided right then and there that we were going to join the military. I went to basic training 2 days after I graduated high school, straight from basic and infantry school to airborne school. And then I went to Bragg to the 82nd. I got there the Monday prior to Thanksgiving, and then on Thanksgiving we found out that we were deploying the next week. So that was my first deployment. We went to Iraq to boost security for the first democratic elections in Iraq. So I was in Baghdad and then out in Sadr City for a while. Came back from that deployment, stayed at Bragg for a year and a half or so, did a bunch of other random things at Bragg, and then went back on my next deployment to Afghanistan. Spent 18 months in Afghanistan. About 12 months of that was at a 39-man firebase on the Paki border, where we had 160 kilometers of border to patrol. That was our responsibility. Getting out of the military is different for everybody. Everybody that has served in the Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, whatever branch of military, all has kind of unique experiences when they get out, with some similarities. You come from a scenario where no matter how much it sucks and whether you haven't showered in a month and you're out and you're dirty and grimy and people are shooting at you and they're trying to blow you up, you feel this really strong sense of purpose. And then you get out and you kind of lose that. And there's not really a good way to gain that back. You can't just go get a sales job and suddenly your purpose is to make your numbers for the quarter. That's not the same thing as putting your life on the line. Having that like pride and that sense of true purpose of what you're doing is just and what you're doing is for a good cause. So you get out and you lose that. And I would say that's probably the hardest part for the people that I know. But then you kind of need to figure out how to fill that void. And for me, I filled that void with fishing. I discovered fly fishing. That really kind of became my purpose. And for everybody, it's something else. But you need something to fill that void. So it was fishing for me. And I went on a guided trip, a half-day guided trip out in Colorado. My then girlfriend, now wife, and I were on vacation. And I said, hey, I want to go hire this guide to take us fly fishing for the afternoon. I've never done it before. And by the time I got home, I had ordered my own fly rods and I had researched fly fishing back in Wisconsin. I found the Hayward Fly Shop and then booked another guided drift boat trip with Stu, the now owner of the Hayward Fly Shop that was their head guide at the time. Floated the Namakagon River, discovered that you could fly fish for bass and muskie and pike and all the species that we have here, and fell in love with it. And that's pretty much all I've done since then as far as hobbies and what I actually want to be doing, what I enjoy, and where I feel like my purpose is now. Fly fishing for me has kind of taken over my life. It's become my passion. I've taken it from a hobby and I'm now starting a business around it. It is what I want to be doing at all times. Anything else I'm doing, I'm thinking about fly fishing. It's in the back of my mind. Being able to be out in nature, being able to be on the river, cutting yourself off from the rest of the world. And that's another thing about the military and about being in the Army and going on deployments. It's one of the only times in your life where you're truly living in the moment. Nothing else matters. You're trying to survive through that deployment, through that firefight, through that incident. You need to deal with what's in front of you right then, right there, and that's all that matters. When you're on the river, it's also very similar. I turn my phone to airplane mode. I call it fishing mode when I'm on the river. No one's calling me. Even if I did answer, what am I going to do when I'm 7 hours from takeout? So fly fishing, and especially fly fishing from a drift boat, has given me that, I guess I would almost call it like peace. It's the ability to escape the rest of the world. So fly fishing is a deep, deep, deep rabbit hole. Once you get into fly fishing, you can really go as far as you want to take it and as far as you want to get into the sport of fly fishing, whether that's trout fishing or bass fishing or muskie fishing. And fly fishing adds another element. It adds the cast, kind of the art of the cast, the equipment that is required. When it comes to trout fishing, you're talking about things like matching the hatch and starting to learn about entomology and learning about the bugs in the water and what the fish, what the trout eat. And those kind of small little nuances and the ability to nerd out, I guess would be kind of almost the right term. You're never going to learn everything that there is to know about fly fishing. You can always find a new technique, find a new fly, find a new pattern, find a whole new species of fish to go target. So there's so many different avenues that you can go within that rabbit hole. It's kind of endless. One of the things that I like to do within my fly fishing, and I relate a lot of skills from the Army. One of the main ones being an acronym that would be KISS, or Keep It Simple Stupid. And that means when I translate that to fly fishing, you don't need to go out and buy a $1,000 rod and a $500 reel and a $200 line and more flies than you know what to do with. What do you actually need? A decent rod. In Wisconsin, you need the simplest reel ever. You need a couple flies that you know that work, and you need some leader material, and you can go fishing. So when I got out of the Army, I took a job and went straight to work, like literally a day and a half after I cleared the Army. That was a mistake. I should have taken some time off, but I didn't. I went straight into work. Worked that job for 6 years and left there. Just wasn't my thing. It didn't fill that void for me. And then I found kind of a unique opportunity where we had a little garage building in town that we were going to use for my wife's business. Her career took a slightly different path, so I decided I would take that building and turn my hobby and my passion into a business. My Uncle Chuck, actually, when I had first left my job after the Army, had said, well, what are you going to do now? And he said, you love to fish, you love to fly fish. Why don't you just become a fishing guide and be happy with your life? And that kind of sat there in the back of my mind, and the opportunity just wasn't there at the time. Fast forward a couple years, and I did have the opportunity to make that idea or that dream come to fruition. So I took our little garage building and I completely remodeled it, and I had the drift boat. So I'm starting Red Cedar fly fishing. I'm going to start guiding on the Red Cedar and Chippewa River and other rivers in western Wisconsin, fly fishing for bass and muskie. One of the things that I'm excited about with my guide service and with my business is to take out people that have never fly fished before and teach them and introduce them to this sport, this activity, this hobby that has taken over my life. So I'm very excited to introduce new people to the sport of fly fishing and kind of utilizing those principles that I learned in the Army of how to teach people things. I am starting Red Cedar fly fishing because I want this to be my office. I want to be in this boat. I want to be out on the river. I want to be showing people the experience that I had found when I first found fly fishing, and show them how much fun and how much joy they can really get out of that. And then I want to grow the fly shop, and I want to grow the awareness in the area, and just the fact that here in western Wisconsin, in a small little town, we've got over 100 miles of river within 20 miles of here. We have some of the best fly fishing in the world. 20 minutes on the road, we have some of the best trout fishing in North America. We have the best muskie fishing in North America. We have amazing smallmouth bass fishing. We have largemouth bass. We have so many different opportunities. Being able to share this hobby with my family, share this passion that my wife is just as passionate about fly fishing as I am, that makes it a lot easier to take this and turn it into a business. And to have started this journey with Marie, who at the time was my girlfriend and now is my wife, it has been really fun to share this passion and share this journey with her. And I'm now really excited to get my daughter Marley into fly fishing. Something else that fly fishing has kind of provided is that my wife and I like to travel, and I always bring a fly rod. No matter where we go, I bring a fly rod with. Odds are there's a river, there's a lake, there's a body of water that holds fish, and I can go figure out something and throw a fly in there. And even if I'm not catching fish, I'm still having fun casting. So you can always find some way to get away from the chaos and on the water and clear your mind, just cast a fly rod and focus on that and nothing else.